Hello students, today we'll continue in the next part of the lesson. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So we were at the point when the captain and his family was in war situation. But somehow they want to reach the island Isle Amsterdam. They were in stress, and under the stress the little girl, Suzanne or Sue, she had shown a courage by making a cartoon caricature of her father as well as her mother, and she also motivated them that there are some funny people and would they make you laugh. And also she had written a message, oh how I love you both. So that card was to say thank you and also the hope for the best. So anyhow, she wanted to motivate them. She was optimistic in any way, and she want to motivate them that even in direst stress they should try their best. In the next part we will continue. The author, it has been told that I checked and rechecked my calculations. The author checked his calculations. Again he checked his calculation that where they were in the vast ocean, the South Indian Ocean, in which they had been caught. So he checked and rechecked, and then he found out that we had lost our main compass. He also checked again and again, and he found that he had lost his main compass through which we can check the directions. And he is telling that I was using a sphere which had not been corrected for magnetic variations. He was using such a compass that was not corrected for the magnetic variations, जिसको अच्छे प्रकार से करेक्ट नहीं किया गया था. So to correct it, he is saying I made an allowance for this. He made an allowance or increment in the variations or in the instrument, and another estimate of influence of the westerly currents, and he had made another calculation for the westerly, the currents or the sea waves, those were coming from the west side. So he made everything that how they could make an influence over their ship or boat. The name of the ship or boat was wave walker, which so the currents which flow through this part of the Indian Ocean, he calculated everything. So he calculated, checked, rechecked so many times, because that was the only way of hope that they could reach Isle Amsterdam, because the condition in which their ship or boat was, they couldn't reach Australia. So about 2 p.m. the captain went on deck. As he is saying, about 2 p.m. I went on deck. Deck is the roof part, the upper part, and asked Larry to steer a course of 185 degree. It means that time the steering was held by Larry. Who was Larry? Larry was a crewman, a sailor who was expert, and at that time he was holding the steering. So he told Larry to steer or to move a course of 185 degree. That steering should be turned by 185 degrees. 185 डिग्री के ऊपर क्या है, स्टेयरिंग को टर्न कर दिया जाए, मूव कर दिया जाए. And he also told, if we were lucky, I told him with a conviction I did not feel. That's another thing. Captain himself was not having convicted or satisfied to make a belief. Convict करना, मानना कि उसको खुद बिलीव नहीं हो रहा था कि हम पहुंच भी जाएंगे या नहीं पहुंच जाएंगे. But even then he said that if we were lucky, I told him with a conviction that I did not feel. He could expect to see this island at about 5 p.m. कि वो 5 p.m. के ऊपर क्या है, उस आइलैंड के ऊपर पहुंच जाएंगे, वो हमें दिखाई देगा. That he was expecting, but not with a conviction or a self belief. But even he told that if we would move or turn our ship at 185 degree, we can reach. He was expecting this at 5 p.m. at the particular island that's named Island Mustard. Then with a heavy heart, and because he had done every effort and he was tired, and with such a heavy heart, he is telling, I went below, or he went below, claimed on my bunk, and amazingly he also went to his bunk or the berth where usually they were sleeping, and amazingly or surprisingly dozed off. Dozed off means having a short sleep. So he had taken a short sleep. नींद आ गई उसको. When I woke, it was 6 p.m. And when he woke, it was 6 p.m. You can imagine the condition of captain at that time. A person who was expecting the island at 5 p.m. and he slept till 6 p.m. What would have been he was thinking right now? क्या सोच रहा होगा कि अब क्या होगा? And growing dark, and also it's growing dark, अंधेरा भी हो रहा था. I knew we must have missed the island, and he also was thinking that we must have missed the island. And with the sail we had left, and with the sail they had left only the storm sail, or because other sails or the jibs, tirpal जो है, with which the ship could move ahead, they had no any, because many jibs were already damaged, and that's why he was having a worry that with the sail we had left, we couldn't hope to beat back into the westerly winds. कि हमें ऐसी कोई hope नहीं थी that westerly winds were coming in a very speed and we can't beat them back, कि वापस नहीं जा सकते उनको beat करके. So he was, you can say he was shocked that it's 6 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. At the moment he was thinking everything, a tousled head appeared by my bunk. As he was sleeping, he was also thinking, he was worried, and at the same time a tousled head. Tousled head, you can say uncombed, not properly arranged the head, because they were in such a situation that they had not taken bath or anything else. So who was that person? Actually Sue was there. His head was also swollen so much. Her head was so much swollen, and she asked, can I have a hug? Sorry, it was Jonathan, not Sue. Sue was right behind him. So Jonathan, whose head was tousled or uncombed, not properly arranged, जैसे कंघी नहीं की गई हो, and Sue, whose head was swollen, she was also right behind him. So they came there, and Jonathan said, can I have a hug? बेटा है उसका जोनाथन, उसने कहा कि क्या मैं आपको हग करूं, क्या मैं आपको आलिंगन करूं? Why I am getting hug now? He was already worried that they must have passed from the island, and that's why they can't beat the westerly wind and they can't go back. He was totally worried, and when he asked to hug, he was in a strange manner. He said that, why should I be hugged right now? Because you are the best dad in the world, in the whole world. He said that because you are the best dad in the why he was saying this? And the best captain, my son replied, he replied, you are also best captain, because they had seen in front of them the island Amsterdam. Actually they had not reached at 5 p.m. but at 6 p.m. in front of the little island. That's why he was so happy, and he was saying that I'm going to hug you because you are the best dad in the world and you have found the island. Not, but he didn't know anything about that, and that's why he is saying, no today John, I'm afraid कि आज तो कम से कम मेरे को best daddy मत बोलिए, best captain मत बोलिए, because he was thinking they had left the island. वो ये सोच रहा था कि मैंने आइलैंड को पीछे छोड़ दिया, मैं कोई बेस्ट कैप्टन नहीं हूँ. Why you must be, said Sue in a matter of fact of voice. You found the island. अब Sue जो उसके पीछे खड़ी थी, she was saying that you must be the best captain, you must be the best dad in the world. And in a fact of voice, उसकी voice के अंदर एक fact था, जैसे वो proof दे रही हो, yes that there फादर देयर इज द आइलैंड, यू फाउंड द आइलैंड, कि आपने तो आइलैंड को ढूंढ लिया है, एंड दैट्स वाई यू आर द बेस्ट रेडी. What I shouted. He was totally shocked. He was surprised. He was thinking that they had missed the island, and he shouted with a cheerfulness. He says, "Yes, what I shouted? It's out there in front of us." They chorused, and they spoke in a group. Chorused means speaking something in a group. एक साथ बोलना. As big as a battleship. That in front of us there is such an island like a battleship. जैसे कि battleship होती है कि युद्ध पोत होता है. In the same size there is an island. I rest on deck. Captain Rust hurried for the deck. दौड़ करके गया. Gazed with relief and he stared. Gazed. देख एकदम से राहत के साथ घूर करके देखा. At the stark outline of the island Amsterdam. At the stark or the strange outline. एकदम से strange outline दिखा रही है. एक अजीब ही उसको एक अनुभूति हो रही है कि that there is land in front of him. It was only a bleak piece. That's another thing, that it was only a bleak mean you can say that is left over. बिल्कुल सुनसान सी जगह है जिसको छोड़ दिया गया हो, swept over हो गया हो, of volcanic rock made of you can say volcanoes, जो volcano से ज्वालामुखी वगैरह से बनते हैं, such type of rock. ऐसी एक चट्टान थी with little vegetation, the most beautiful island in the world. vegetation भी ज़्यादा नहीं थी, वनस्पति किसी प्रकार की नहीं थी. And he captain say the most beautiful island in the world. For captain it was really most beautiful island in the world. Why it was the most beautiful island for him? Because it is the island which could save their lives, because they couldn't reach Australia, and it is the only place where they could survive, because he also knew very well that there some people were working for the science research and they belong to France and they could save their lives. That's why he said this island was the most beautiful island in the world. Next he is saying we anchored offshore for the night के लिए they anchored, उन्होंने वहीं पर लंगर डाल दी. they you can say stayed there offshore, तट के ऊपर. and the next morning all 28 inhabitants or the residents, 28 वहाँ पर inhabitants थे फ्रांस कंट्री के, they of the island cheered as they helped us ashore. जैसे ही उन्होंने ashore पे आकर के उनकी हेल्प की, they also cheered that we have saved lives of some people. With land under my feet again, my thoughts were full of Larry and Herbie. Now as the captain had put his feet where on the land, he was totally full of so strange thoughts. He was totally full of cheerness, and he was thinking about those people who were with him and how they reacted in the direst stress, in direst situation. Now he was full of the thoughts of Larry and Herbie, two crewmen whom he had hired for the South Indian Ocean, and cheerful and optimistic under the direst stress. That how they were cheerful and optimistic even under the direst stress. They had not they had struggled a lot, they had worked hard, but they never said that we could die. And of Mary, and he was also thinking about his own wife Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. During the critical hours, at that time everyone was saving the ship. At that time his wife was on the steering wheel. How she had arranged herself without eating for 36 hours, that was so important. He was also full of those thoughts. And most of all, I thought of a 7-year-old girl, and he was also thinking about the 7-year-old girl who did not want us to worry about a head injury. And he was also thinking about such a little girl of 7 years who had not even think about her head injuries. We subsequently took 6 minor operations to remove recurring blood clot between skin and skull. And he was surprised that she had not worried about the injuries. And after that, after they had been saved, there were continuously there were 6 minor operations to remove the recurring blood, clotting of blood between skin and skull. स्किन और स्कल के बीच में जो ब्लड इकट्ठा हुआ था उसको रिकर करने के लिए, उसको हटाने के लिए, उसको रिमूव करने के लिए 6 उसके 6 माइनर ऑपरेशन हुए.
So he was also thinking about that girl who had not told even about the injuries. And the most, that end of a 6-year-old boy was not afraid to die if we can all be together. And about that 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die, he said to his father that we are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So that's all about this lesson. We will continue in the question answers.